You will not find another video like this telling you the step-by-step guide on how to get all A's for your university electives. I have gone through the trouble of reviewing 4 years worth of material and giving you my own experience on how I did that. Towards the end of the video, I'll take you through actual examples of my coursework, and you can download my full GE guide in the description below. General electives, known as GE course in CityU, is required by the university. Each student has to take 4 of them across 3 areas to graduate. If you don't go to CityU, it's still okay because this video gives you tips on how to do coursework, how to think of innovative essay titles, and you can get to see what university students actually do. First things first, you need to pick courses that are suited to your strength. I personally loved business courses because I have an entrepreneurial mind, having started some businesses. Back then there still was no ChatGPT, but I knew how to do research. For you, it might be writing up lab reports because you come from a STEM major, but that's not the only thing because you have to take courses in different areas, right? College is not only to study something you like, but also to broaden your mind. Other than your strength, you need to take in the weighting of the course. There are many different components that are weighted. For example, your attendance, group work, individual work, in-class quizzes, end of the term exam. I would never pick a course with more than 70% on the final exam. You never know what questions would come up in the exam. There's a lot of variables when it comes to exams. Whereas for individual coursework or group work, presentations, you have time to work on it. Ask the professor, work with your friends. And that gives you more control. Now, I personally love to do group work because I had very, very smart friends. Our work ethic, we work like crazy. And I know that we will come up with something amazing. At the beginning of the semester, we filter out all the courses that does not meet our requirement and see which ones we can get. Research is important as well. Go on CityU's website, download the outline. There you will find all the weighting. For this sexuality culture course, you can see it's 100% continuous assessment. And then if you scroll down, you'll find the weighting of the course, and this was perfect for us. Now, I know there's something called the GE guide on the internet, and loads of people can go on there, put their review of the course, the grade they got, and review how good the lecturer was. Take those reviews with a grain of salt. Some people, they are just naturally good at the subject and they can do it with ease. And so when people write, oh, this course is super easy, I didn't need to put much effort and I got A+, don't believe these. There is no easy way out, okay? Now the second thing is how to come up with an interesting essay topic. Just like picking the course, picking the right essay topic is already winning half the battle. Now, the instructions the professor gives you would often be very vague, like come up with something that is specific, yet not too specific, give both sides of the argument. Now, with hundreds of students taking the course with you, it's very hard to stand out. I've had sufficient training in my legal studies to look at different articles and deduce my own viewpoint. So it's really hard to teach you this skill. Let me give you some examples. For example, in my Chinese civilization essay, mandatory for CityU students to understand more about Chinese history, we had to pick within 6 areas: ancient Chinese medicine, technology, Taoism, the changings of dynasty. And how I went about thinking about this was, my presentation was on ancient Chinese artifacts, basically ancient astrology. So they use these star charts to determine what to do on what specific days. And I even see these on old people's home in their calendars. Back then, the imperial houses made it a law that they were the only ones who can produce these almanacs. So I thought about why this was so significant. People are very superstitious and they would really do what these calendars predictions tell them to. They saw the emperor as God, and if something went wrong or didn't go according to what the almanac said, or some natural disaster happened, it would reflect very badly on the emperor, and the emperor didn't want people running around making these copies which would affect his power, and that's why he held the tool of prediction that spoke to the fear of people's hearts so tightly. Perhaps the emperor wanted to control what people did. And I just found that so interesting. So my topic was, let me read it to you, Power of Words, how Chinese almanacs legitimizes Chinese emperors' rules and furthered their political agenda. It was something I was genuinely interested in, but also it would take your observation in real life and making connections between different things. Another course I took was gender studies. Now, I know the gender dynamics in Japan is very strained and it's causing a lot of unhappiness, I guess, in the society, and so I looked into that. Whatever you think of, you're not the only one, so go on Google, type in those keywords, and see what other people have written about the topics. Look at this article about the 74% wage gap between men and women. And then here another article about gender inequality. The final product being the concept of salaryman and how that contributed to the participation of men and women in the workplace and some of the consequences. A Facebook meme about a philosophy doctor saving somebody inspired this following thesis for my philosophy course. Pause the screen and take a look. Now the third, show up and engage in class. And it's not just about showing up to class that will get you the marks. The lecturer's impression on you makes a big difference. They have a certain amount of discretion. A way to show your initiative is to talk to guest speakers. In one class, our professor invited an entrepreneur who studied computer science, and him and his buddies made an app, sold it to the Hong Kong government because they solved a problem of not knowing the minibus schedule for going back to school to UST. And I was really interested in what they did because I myself was into startups. And apparently they were hiring some people to work for them as well. And in our entrepreneurship class, our professor invited somebody who has won seed fund for developing some urban farming technology. He did his undergrad at PolyU Hong Kong. He told aspiring entrepreneurs to stay in school for as long as possible because there is so much funding available for university students. He got his master's at Stanford doing STEM, and now he not only has his farming business, but he also goes to school, gets funding from the government to teach STEM to secondary and primary school kids. How amazing, right? There are some mandatory classwork that you would need to do. Back then, during COVID, we had to submit a lot of online assignments. This one course where at the end of each class, you would need to submit like 200 to 300 words on a particular topic mentioned in class. And we wrote a lot. Always go above and beyond, show that you understand. I know with ChatGPT, it makes it so much easier. Back then, we didn't have this. And maybe it's because of law school, I've learned to elaborate into eternity. You might think your time is better spent doing something else, but trust me, this helps with your discipline and your elaboration skills, which really helps you in the workplace. The fourth thing is step up in group work. Now, in all of the GEs I've taken, all of them had group work. Some group work weighting go up to 60% for some classes. Presentation, making videos. I loved working with a team of people, throwing ideas back and forth and presenting them in front of an audience. I had great friends, but then we also had to work with strangers. And you don't know whether they're good or not, right? They could be incredibly smart or don't want to do work and they just want a free ride. What do you do in these situations? You conceptualize the entire project as if you're the only one doing this. I find that in a lot of situations, nobody comes prepared. There is no framework for anybody to discuss anything about. In all of the group work, I always show up with 1 or 2 ideas or an outline for discussion. Most people, they just want to relax and have people tell them what to do. You need to step up. In a sustainability course I took, we need to come up with a 25-minute documentary. They went with my idea. Some of my friends came up with outlines as well because they're very hardworking. It's very important to divide the work. Everybody needs to know what they're doing. For example, in a company analysis, somebody needs to do the background info, current problems they're facing, what solutions has been used, comparative analysis. In that group meeting, you need to know what the big direction is. Now the final thing is be very, very willing to put in the hard work. This video is not a cheat sheet on how to get the most out of doing the least. I know with the multiple responsibilities you have, organizing clubs, and perhaps taking 7 courses, you really don't have time. You just want to do the least amount of work. There is no shortcut. Let me just tell you this. Some of these courses I put more effort into than my law courses. In the sustainability course, some people just recorded their Zoom presentations. Now that's one way to go. We made an actual documentary video. I used my professional camera, did the professional voiceovers, animation, subtitles. For my architecture course, we need to present on the 3 places that we went to. And normally you would only see photos you took during the field trip. I'm going to make videos, add music, and make it all cinematic because that's what I'm good at. And I want people to have a good experience watching our presentation. For each of our reports, we made sure to make it look like an actual proposal that companies can use. For our presentations, we made sure the graphics are spectacular This is one of my final presentation decks, and with my team, we talked about CK Hutchinson as a company. I covered the background of the company, did some SWOT analysis. All of this information you see is deduced from research online. In hindsight, there were too many words on the PowerPoint, but this got our point across. So whenever you're making a presentation, try to make it succinct, make it professional looking. Presentation is all about making the content relevant for your audience. Don't tell people things you don't want to know yourself. Think from the other person's perspective. If you were the company, would you find this helpful? I absolutely believe that hard work will get you the results you want. Go watch my adventure as an exchange student in Italy. Or watch me explain exactly what law students study in Hong Kong. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!